Hello, and thank you for joining CXO Cockpit's announcement of PBCS and PBCS connectivity. We're very, very excited about our announcement today, and welcome everybody to the call. I'm going to run through a little agenda and take you through a little preview of CXO, and then I'm going to turn it over to our North American CEO, Wouter Bourne. Just a few little housekeeping rules. Everyone, as the moderator said, everyone is in muted mode at this point, and you have the ability to ask questions by clicking on the questions tab in your control panel. You'll raise a hand, the question will go in as a chat. We have a gentleman that is collecting all of the questions, and we'll run through those at the end of the call. If we don't get a chance to go through each one, we will be publishing a list of questions and answers to all of the attendees afterwards. So thanks again for joining, and let's get started with our webinar. Hit the next slide. Today you'll be hearing from myself, Dan Phillips, and from Wouter Bourne, who is our CEO in the US. Just a little bit about CXO Cockpit. The company is getting ready to celebrate its 10th anniversary this October. We're very fortunate to have begun our life in the Netherlands, and now we are dual headquartered in both Netherlands and US. We have multiple sales offices throughout Europe and in North America, and several global partnerships which we've enjoyed over the years. We do develop each and every piece of software in-house, and we support everything in-house. So you're getting the best of breed and from people who really understand the technology and are able to help you with any support questions very, very quickly. And because of that, we're fortunate to have grown our customer base to a little bit over 100, and most, if not all, of those customers are referenceable. So we very much keep customers as the forefront of our thought process and the work that we do. And just a little bit about those customers, as you can see, these are multinational, very large multinational customers. We work with most of these customers in the FP&A organization. We help support their planning efforts, matching plan and forecast to actuals, developing forecast percentages, and really helping these folks to gain very, very quick insights and visualization into their data so that they can make much more intelligent business decisions. Agility is one of the key issues in today's business environment, especially for large multinationals, because they're so complex and they have so much data to manage. And so what CXO Cockpit really brings to the table is the ability to visualize that data, be able to drill down and make those critical business decisions very, very, very quickly so that you can be ahead of your competition at all times. The bottom line to what we do for FP&A organizations and for all others is our goal is to minimize the amount of time it takes to do those repetitive tasks like generating the reports so that we can give you back more hours and more days in your cycle time to do the analysis that will add value to the company and add value to your organization and, quite frankly, add value to your own personal career. And that's the objective that we seek to do for each one of our customers and have been very successful in doing so. At this time, I want to turn it over to Wouter Bourne, who is our CEO for North America. Wouter is going to take us through a couple of slides and then right into the tool so that we can spend time understanding the capability of the tool set. Wouter?
Okay, thank you, Dan. Yeah, I think as Dan mentioned, I'm leading our USA business unit, and what is interesting about my role is that I've been in the past 10 years, was responsible for product strategy. So today, from both of my roles, I'm actually really excited. This is actually the first time that we're going to launch a cloud solution, and the CXO Cloud, the way we call it, will be initially available for Oracle PBCS, the planning budgeting cloud services of Oracle. It also works on EPRCS, and we'll pretty soon expect that we'll have a version for FRCS and maybe other EPM cloud platforms. The concept of our cloud is that it's going to be a completely hosted all-in solution that has the whole infrastructure for you covered. So it contains infrastructure, it contains support and upgrades, it contains any kind of maintenance on it. And the only thing what you just can do is use the software as a functional end user with all the benefits that we offer on our on-prem version. It's really like software as a service, so it's a SaaS model. I'll get a little bit into the details a little bit more down in this slide. What we're really delivering is what we call a cloud-to-cloud integration. So PBCS will run in the cloud, and CXO-cockpit will run in the cloud, and there will be an integration adapter that takes data out of PBCS, loads it into the CXO-cockpit cloud, and then you can start reporting on it. This will be a click-and-go configuration. So this really means there is no technical development necessary, or there is no custom integration. This is really a click-and-go configuration. We will introduce a new kind of pricing model for this. It's an introductory pricing where we're going to have a fixed price per user per month. There will be no price for any, let's say, requirements like a server or an adapter or anything like that. There will be a fixed price of $150 US, 150 euros per user per month, with a minimum of 10 users and a minimum commitment of 12 months. And I think this is a very reasonable and low risk way to start using this software. If you accumulate this over the total cost of a 1 year, this is a really let's say very attractive way of pricing to just start using it. And on top of that, because we really believe that this solution is going to bring you so much value, we're happy to offer you a free 30-day trial, including the initial setup that will take care of this. So if by the end of this webinar you are as impressed as we are about this integration, feel free to sign up for the free 30-day trial, and we'll happy to connect your PBCS application to our CXO Cloud. It does not mean that we won't offer PBCS for our on-premise customers, and that's why I included this slide as well. The same adapter that we use for our CXO Cloud, we also use that same adapter for our on-premise customers. So you can actually use inside your existing CXO-cockpit infrastructure, you can just integrate PBCS as a new adapter. And the benefits of this solution is that you could combine it with any existing on-premises HFM or SBase or maybe other technology that you have in place, but that are running on premises, to combine that PBCS data in one single reporting solution. So for any existing customers that join us today, you can benefit of the same integration as well. However, the introductory pricing I just mentioned, that's really for our CXO Cloud. What does it mean, our integration? And later on in the demo, I will give you a full view of how CXO-cockpit works on PBCS. But from a high-level architecture, we are integrating with Oracle's latest integration technology, their RESTful API. We are creating a metadata export where we read out all the hierarchies, basically, and then we can take the data as a separate extract all at once or with individual slices. And an individual slice could be something as your FY18 plan final, for example. So a version, a year, and a scenario. And that's what we're going to look at today. We're really going to, in the demo, we're going to analyze the 2018 final plan for a company called Blue Box. So these slices can be updated near real time, meaning the technology is optimized to take such a slice out of PBCS in a very short time frame and just update it. Before I go into the demo, I'd like to just set the scene a little and introduce you why would you consider a solution like CXO Cockpit on PBCS. Well, I think if you look at the native reporting options of PBCS, and maybe including what Oracle's offering nowadays, their BI cloud services, I think they all have certain stuff in common. They have no financial formatting, meaning it is all very grid-based, no good visualizations. There are no functionalities like narratives or storytelling or collaborate, really work together on the plan from an consumer perspective. So of course their PBCS offers great features in terms of building up the plan, but once the plan is final and you're ready to tell the story to senior management, in our opinion, the native PBCS reporting options are too limited. They do have smart view integration, but there you really go back into Excel, having issues like no central governance, error prone, very intensive, manual intensive, no audit trails. So that runs a lot of risks for you as an organization. And the whole need of moving to a cloud web-based reporting platform to then do your final analysis in Excel, you really miss the point there, in my opinion. So what do we offer with CXO Cockpit? The CXO Cloud for PBCS, and I just took a random screen from our demo today, but I really like it because it gives us an overview of how a company could review their 2018 plan in a very intuitive way. First of all, we offer a customized navigation per user, per role, per user group, and this customized navigation means customized reports. So your CFO of the company could get a whole different set of reports than maybe a business unit user in a region, and also a customized point of view. So you can really set up point of views to be reflecting what the user responsibility is. The second part that we offer, and we really don't see that in the Oracle native tooling, is formatted tables that really represent the way how you would look from it from a financial, logical perspective. So stuff like underline, indents, italic, variance charts, drill downs into tables, something that you would feel comfortable with from a reporting perspective. But that's not only the thing. We also offer drill down functionality. So you can actually click any line in that chart and then see a 12-month trend, or go even deeper into product details behind sales. Also, what CXO Cockpit offers on any dashboard, any report, is a complete context-driven narrative functionality with a narrative workflow, and something that allows you to tell the story behind your plan. Next thing what we offer is what we call real-time collaboration. Any report can be shared with other users, and you can start the discussion with your peers, with your business users, with senior management. Also, what we offer in this toolkit is stuff like storytelling. So create a digital board book, narrative approval workflow, or book generation. Just print the whole thing to PowerPoint or Excel or PDF, and all in one integrated solution. So you don't need several different tooling. It's one solution that takes care of your whole analysis reporting needs on top of your PBCS environment. So I'm going to move over to the demo. It's Blue Box Corporation we're going to use today, and in Blue Box Corporation there are 3 people that work here. We have Olivia Johnson, who's the group CFO. She is responsible for the final approval of the plan. The second, and I would say he's kind of the lead role today. He's the he's the guy we'll use most, but that's John Smith. He's the global FP&A manager, and he's responsible for creating the plan for Olivia to finally review and agree on. In Australia, there is Jose Garcia, who is responsible for all the Blue Box owned stores. Blue Box is headquartered in Atlanta, Jose is actually based out of Australia, and he's their FP&A manager for a major business unit. So when you log into the URL, as you see, we offer a new URL now, cxo-cloud.com, and this specific application is called PBCS demo, but your instance would be called your company name.cxo-cloud.com, and you just log in. I will log into the application, and as a first action, I will maximize my screen so we can all see it a little better. As you can see, also in my previous display, John's image is put out here. You know, we're dealing with people and not with names only. So that way people see with who they communicate, with who they collaborate. The homepage will take John to a general overview of his data, key KPIs, maybe for the current month. We're currently in FY17 in June. And this table already gives them some basic analysis functionality. While clicking through the different KPIs, at the same time I see my different business lines turning out, you know, how much they contributed to this EBITDA. Are they doing better or worse than my latest forecast, etc. I would like to take you to just to start the demo, to a more traditional planning report. This is probably the kind of report you would build with Excel or with FR. It's more a static representation of the plan, and it's kind of helpful because this is already giving us a lot of information. Today we're going to analyze the plan of the year-to-date December, so the final year-end, accumulated the total year of budget final for 2018. That's a typical plan you would be all creating in a month or 2 months from now. This report actually shows us how feasible this plan is. So it shows our latest forecast, which is our best indicator. You know, what do we end up this year in December with? You know, our plan would be, unless we have like crazy plans, our plan would be something similar with certain growth. We can compare it to our latest actual in 2016. So December 2016, which is another good indicator. We can also compare this for year-to-date, quarter-to-date, and periodic views. And then I can show some individual months. So this gives me a nice overview with some additional drill downs. You know, I can go into my direct cost. I can select something from the point of view. So I can, for example, go into Blue Box owned stores, which will be the key company today. And I have an ability to write my comments down here. We'll get later into this commentary, but this is already a nice example of a planning report. This is good, but I would like to take you into something better today. Later on, we'll run the whole thing from a storyboard, which is our core technology for storytelling. But we'll start with just viewing reports by entering the menu. The menu is the main navigation in CXO-cockpit. Here you see actually I've created menus by process, by moment in the process. So these are my budget review reports. There are also forecast review reports to just review the current forecast. And there are a couple of actual reporting reports. And as last, I have some more detailed commentary reports during the planning process. I'd like to start by going into the profit and loss budget approval report. In this report, you would see a similar data set as we saw in the previous report, but you'll immediately see that this offers a lot more options. First of all, we can actually compare two moments in time. So my point of view is pointing to FY18, so it's my next year's budget, December, first and final, year to date. So I'm looking at my total for next year for my blue box owned stores, which is a important business unit, that we're looking at today. Any line in this chart can be actually drilled on. So I can click on gross sales. I see a 12-month overview of my gross sales. So I can compare month by month how my budget final compares to my forecast by the end of the year. So what I expect to end up by the end of this year. I can also at any moment, so for example, by clicking on net sales, I can go into additional detail, for example, like product. This company sells cameras and software and all different kind of details. So while analyzing this, I can actually get into my net sales by my individual products. But it gets even better, because when you're analyzing a plan, you typically like to understand where the variances are compared to what you have today, so to your today's forecast. So any line in this report allows you to drill into additional analysis. So for example, if I would like to know how my EBITDA is compared, I see, we're just only less than 1% above my last year forecast. But if I would like to understand how this goes by region and by product, I could actually click on the line and go into a profit and loss report that would allow me to show all the different regions. So how am I moving to my budget? So my budget FY18 final, and here I see my forecast 17, and here I really see how every individual region is contributing to this. This is an overview that shows me all my base regions, but if I would like to use more a drill down approach, I could actually go and select my direct members and go into my domestic regions. And from domestic regions, I would be able to drill into West. And maybe while I'm on West, I would like to have a look, for example, on my different products and see how my products are performing just for the West region. And so while drilling here, I could drill now into total products, into the parts, and have a view on how the different parts for the West region would perform. So with just a couple of clicks, I can get to a very detailed analysis for my whole plan for the EBITDA account by using a bridge or a waterfall analysis. Let me move back to the blue box owned stores and go one page back to the one I drilled from. As you can see, this point of view, what you see here is really set to the budget in the final version. But we have an option to compare this to other points in time. So I'm comparing budget final maybe to my 2017 budget. Let's see how the variants look to that version, or my actual 16. And I like some data here, but how would it look to earlier versions of the same budget? So my budget final compared to the same budget but version 1. We are having a top line of net income that is slightly better, so that's good. We improved our budget. The budget version 2, we're doing worse compared to the budget version 2. So there's a lot of analysis possibility in here, but that's not it. I'd like to take you now to the part where we would enrich this story and add it, and enrich this specific analysis and add it to a specific story. I would like to zoom into Blue Box owned stores Australia, and I would like to compare it to my budget of 2017. And this is a specific analysis. I would like to view this by product. Open this up, maybe open it up completely. And I would actually like to ask Jose a question about this, because what I see in his analysis is that he wrote a story about this, but what he did not do is something we agreed on in an email, and that's he would put in what we call the Australian Consumer Index picture. He mentioned it, but it's not in there at the moment. So I'm going to start a conversation with Jose, and I say that I missed a chart. with index. So I'll add Jose Garcia to my conversation, and I start a conversation with Jose. I will just remember him to what we agreed. Put it at this chart as agreed. And I send over this message to Jose. So what I will do now, and I try to minimize this, but I will switch browsers, and I will go into a browser for Jose. So Jose is going to log on, and let me key in his password. And Jose, as you can see, has a completely different homepage. He sees his default view is different. But when he logs in, he sees his own picture, and he actually sees that he has a new conversation. This little one means Jose, someone asks you something in the tool. If he wouldn't have not logged in, he would have gotten an email within 5 minutes from the system. He actually sees his direct boss, the guy he reports to, that he misses a chart. So he quickly goes in here, and he sees, oh, yeah, that's right. I had to add this chart. So what Jose will do now is he can add this chart. But before I actually go there, I would like to show you one other thing. When Jose opened up this conversation, when he hit this link, he took over the screen on exactly the same view as where John left it. So we are looking at Blue Box Australia. We're comparing budget final to budget 17. We are looking at a variance. We are seeing gross sales here, and we opened up certain products. So we have a very detailed view. What Jose is going to do, he's going to add his commentary. He's going to modify his commentary, and he's going to add an image. So he adds his image, and there it is. There is an Australian Consumer Confidence Index. He wants to make it a little smaller. I think it must be 400 wide to look good. And he saves his comments. He quickly writes back to John that he's done. By the way, the fact that the snapshot has been taken over, it's not meaning that it's frozen. So Jose could have made a sidestep to gross sales here and see it in a waterfall, or he could have selected the EBITDA and see some background details. So this does not mean that Jose cannot it does not mean that he has a static screen in front of him. Okay, allow me to go back to John's browser. I just switched browsers. You see John here on top, and if John scrolls down, he actually already sees from Jose that he's done. So the chatting conversation is instant. So he could quickly write back thanks, and what John will do now is actually go up to Blue Box owned stores, go back up one entity, just makes this a little bit smaller, and he can look into his point of view comments. So this is the story he prepared. But when he goes into this subsidiary comments, he would see that chart from Jose, and that's the one he was looking for. So what he's going to do, he's going to copy all his subsidiary comments into his own comments. So he's going to copy this into the point of view comments. What you will now see is that his analysis has been extended with the image he was looking for. So he could give it a small post edit, and I won't make I won't do the full thing, but at least remove this label, and maybe this is a very important part. So let's increase the font size slightly. So this becomes an integrated story with a specific part of content. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to add this to the story that Olivia needs to finally approve the plan. In CXO-cockpit, we have a functionality called storytelling or storyboards, which are right here on this S. It's a small book, and it's a technology that allows you to create a digital presentation or a digital book. So I prepared a storyboard already called Final FY18 Plan Review Blue Box Owned Stores. And I'm going to add this report to the storyboard by using this favorite icon. Just going to add it to here, and So this is a kind of analysis I would like to share with Olivia later on. I'd like to do some other things before I go there. I'd like to enrich my story a little bit with some additional detail. I'd like to go into EBITDA here and tell Olivia, maybe on a slightly higher level, so she might need to see the total picture. I'd like to tell Olivia about our EBITDA by region. So I'm going to add this to the storyboard as well. Let me just change the title slightly. EBITDA by region. Add it to the same storyboard. And actually, I would also like to do this report by product. So she has more detail to review the whole story. I'm going to add the same report again, but now it will be EBITDA by product. Select the storyboard. Well, and as a last little touch to this storyboard, I would like to add some other kind of analysis. So I'd like to go into one of our actual reporting. Might give some additional insight in how the margins run by cost per unit and profit margin. So what are more expensive parts and which ones really drive the best margin. I'd like to go into the different parts, and I'd like to add this to the same storyboard. So altogether, I've created a storyboard which I could share with Olivia. So once I'm done, I have a couple of options to make this final. Actually, at any report in my storyboard, I would be able to lock the commentary and the whole story. So this lock would become closed if I do that. Let me just do it so you see it. This really means it's final. So my story behind the report plus the report and the data, everything is final. I actually like to go now into my storyboard, and this storyboard I just built, I'd like to share this with Olivia. So I'm gonna add Olivia Johnson, our group CFO. I'll make her a read-only user. She doesn't need to change the storyboard. She doesn't need to give other people access to it. So I'll just make her a read-only user. And allow me to quickly switch browsers. I'll go back into Jose's browser. I will log out and log in as Olivia. So Olivia opens up her homepage, and she actually sees this little notification here, and she sees that John Smith shared the storyboard final plan review. Well, that's great. She was waiting for this. So she likes to open the storyboard. She sees the story. She has a couple of options. What Olivia can do is play this on screen or on a mobile device. But she can also decide to export this storyboard maybe to a PDF file. So let me just do that too. I will export it and I'll pick it up later. But I'll first play it on the screen. So by selecting that I want to play this storyboard, Olivia will get this story presented, and I'll zoom out a little so we can see a little better. We've seen all the reports already, but she gets this way of presentation in front of her to review a plan. And I think it's very powerful to have your whole plan together with the explanation, and she can just click through it and next kind of, including the chart. She can still make her analysis. So if people will ask her, if she uses this for a presentation, for example, to her fellow board members, people might ask her, hey, can you drill into this? Can you go to entity here? And she can all do that. But if she wants to go back to her initial state, she just presses refresh and gets back to there. She can also anytime take a sidestep. For example, someone asked her, hey, could you give me a little bit more detail about cost to net sales, standard region? And there could be specific notes here in this table, and she would like to share that with people. At any moment, she can go back to her story and reset the storyboard. Well, we've already seen all the reports, but let me just walk through it. She got the two different waterfalls, which is technically the same report, but one is by product and one is by region. In the storyboard, it's presented as two different pages. And she ends up with a very specific detailed analysis on profitability and cost unit price over their different product groups. So, you know, after agreeing to this story, what she can actually do now is close the story and pick up her print. So if I go to check export jobs, I just started the print and I see the print is done now. It takes a storyboard like this should take like 10 seconds, but I didn't want to wait for it, so I started it, and here I am to pick it up. If you open this up in a PDF, you really get you know, this kind of nicely printed format containing all the background information. And she could print this, take this into a plane, or leave this on her PC as a printed version. We also support export to PowerPoint or to Excel. So Olivia is actually asking John to make a small modification. And I think the key thing with this solution is that you want to be self-service. The good thing about a cloud solution is that you don't need other people to do something for you. It should be self-service. So let's say that Olivia would like to have something changed to the PBCS P&L budget review report. So she asked John to make some modifications to this report. Well, what John can actually do now, he can just enter the CXO designer, because he is either a report builder or an administrator, but he has access to self-service and create his own reports. And I'll just show you a little bit how intuitive this is and how simply you can use this. So by entering the CXO designer, I go into a view that allows me to see my recent accessed or recent build reports. I can also view them by my menu, for example, and I'd like to go into my budget review report, and it was the profit and loss budget approval. So in the center, I see this report, and that's a report we've been viewing before. The report is fully functional, so I can actually, you know, select the lines. I can close my navigation pane to have more space. And one of the things I can do now is, for example, open up my settings of the report, and I'll show you a little bit some of the basics. Before I actually go there, let me show you, for example, how you can preview this report that you're currently designing on different devices. So you can move it, for example, to an iPad or vertical mode, or even how would this look on a phone. So in the designer, you have the power to really preview how your reports would look on different devices. And here in the phone mode, you actually see that we replaced the point of view buttons by nice full screen overlays which are very touch friendly. So also the menu, it becomes very touch friendly. So that's a key benefit to our mobile client. I'd like to change a couple things. One of the things is just to go to the point of view. When I mentioned that the point of view can be customized, you can actually at any moment you can just extend your point of view with your PBCS dimensions. So at this moment I have my year, my period, my version, my entity. Let's say I want to have my entity on top. It's a simple drag and drop, and you would see the immediate effect of it by being entity now on the left side. Let's say I want to add another dimension to this. So I'd like to include, for example, my product dimension directly from PBCS. I now all of a sudden see a product selector. So I can make the whole P&L, for example, for cameras only now with this change. If I don't want to see all my members here, but I would just like to limit my selection, I could easily, I actually have a lot of options to do so, but just to take a simple one, I could just say I only want to see the descendants, or only the children, but maybe I only want to see my cameras in here, and I want to include the cameras itself, and I want to select a specific top. So I now only see my cameras and their children. I can also build up custom lists and everything. I can very highly customize this. To go back to the rest of the report, let's say I would like to change something to my P&L statement here. Well, for that I wouldn't need the settings. I would actually go into the contents of the report, and here I see a representation of my P&L. You also see that this P&L report is used in 12 other reports. CXO Cockpit offers a very high level of reusability of your stuff like a P&L list, a working capital list, or a cash flow or balance sheet. Once you've built them, you've formatted them the way you want, you could easily extend it with more reports, different visualizations on the same kind of setup. Well, let's say that we would like to have an EBITDA percentage in here, something that is not in my PBCS model, so I want to create a quick calculation. So I'll just add an item here. I call it EBITDA percentage. And I'll add a formula to it. So the formula in this case will be a ratio formula. You'll see in our list of formulas we support standard Excel kind of formulas. We also support the MDX language to do more sophisticated things, multidimensional calculations, context sensitive calculations like case when statements, but just regular formulas can be nicely done with our formula editor. So I want to take EBITDA as a percentage of net sales, and I will not make it a percentage here. I will later do that in my format. And what you actually see now is that the number shows as 0 because it is actually scaled as thousands, so you don't really see it. What I can now do is go into my format and take any kind of existing format. You know, I can actually pick my percentage format, but I would like to take the opportunity to create quickly a new format on the fly. So this is going to be my percentage format, and I can basically do every kind of formatting that you're used to in Excel. So you can do bold, underline, italic, different font sizes, different colors, different background colors. Most important here, I want to scale it as a percentage, so multiplied by 100. I want to include one digit behind the comma, and I would like to maybe give it a left indent of 2, and that's it. I could maybe have given it a italic, would have been nice, but let me just move this over just below EBITDA. As you can see, with a simple drag and drop, and unfortunately EBITDA has a skip formula, but if I would just make this default, sum, you would see the EBITDA now nicely showing up under EBIT. And at the same time, the report is actually modified. I have the EBITDA percentage in my chart, in my further detailed analysis. And if I would leave the designer and reach out to Olivia, she would actually see the EBITDA percentage as part of the report. So I could quickly send her back a quick note saying, okay, this is how the report looks like right now. What do you think? In terms of the demonstration, this was kind of what I wanted to show you today. I'm wondering if there are any questions. Please reach out if there are specific questions. And Thomas, you've been moderating, so please let me know if you registered any questions.
Hi, Wouter. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we have one question here, which goes a little bit deeper in the email integration and how does that work? What are the benefits? Could you just go a little bit deeper on that, Wouter? Yeah.
So what will happen is that the server, every user will have an email address configured. So when you create a user, you enter his email address. So within the chatting option, that's real time. So if you're both in the same report, you can really chat real time and drive a conversation about the contents. If you miss a conversation, at that moment you would actually get an email from the system. So the server will generate an email saying that you missed the conversation, and with a URL that will bring you directly into that conversation. So that's a very user-friendly way to keep people inside the system and let them chat in there instead of outside the system.
All right.
Dan made an interesting note here. This is email client independent, so it's actually an SMTP server on the CXO Cloud or on your on-premise installation that would generate these emails, and any email client would it could work with Gmail, it could work with Outlook, with whatever you're using.
There was a slide here, Wouter, which mentioned a free trial. Someone would like to know, what does that exactly mean, and how can you sign up for it?
Yeah, so the free trial is something we'd like to offer as an introduction. We are putting this into the market, believing that this will really help you. But if you still like to try it out, try before you buy. You can actually reach out to Dan Phillips, who is currently on the screen. He can take care of all the logistics, but the only thing what we would really need from you is basically one account to enter PBCS, and that account will be used to extract the data from your PBCS environment, and then one of our consultants will reach out to you to do some basic configuration, like set up your first couple of users and help you build some reports, and then you can really start using the software with all the features that you've seen today. We'll allow you a 10-user package for 30 days to try it out, and after that you can subscribe to it if you like to keep it.
All right. Next question is, does the system integrate or work with Google Sheets?
So what we saw today was our cloud version of CXO Cockpit, and actually the cloud version of CXO Cockpit connects to PBCS as a single source. In our on-premise version, we also have other ways to load data, like our data warehouse adapter, that is a kind of Excel web-based loading of data. I can imagine that you transfer the data you might have in Google Sheets into your CXO Cockpit environment using our data warehouse adapter. But the good thing is, what I haven't showed today is we can integrate any kind of web-based content inside CXO Cockpit. So we can actually have a frame that would display any kind of URL-based access document. So if your Google Sheet has a URL, we can actually integrate it and make it part of a storyboard, part of your story, or part of a regular report. So I think we can integrate this very nicely.
All right. Next question is, what kind of visualizations are supported?
So CXO Cockpit offers a lot of out-of-the-box charts, basically everything that you would expect from a modern finance-oriented visualization and dashboarding tool. If you would like to know more about it, then we actually have a visualization guide we can share with you, and we can actually send this as a follow-up on the webinar. If you have been attending, we're happy to reach out to you with this visualization guide, and it shows all different kind of charts, bridges, waterfalls that we support, and again, typically we support everything that you would expect from a modern data visualization tool. Besides our out-of-the-box templates, we have something what we call free format templates, and those templates actually allow you to build every kind of combination of data tables, charts, selectors that integrate in a certain way, and it's completely customized and set up. So on top of our standard templates, that's something we offer as well.
All right, thank you very much, Wouter. That's all the questions we've got so far. I would suggest if you still have any questions, ask them now, or we'll finish the webinar.
Well, thank you all for attending with such a great group. It's great to see that this is a hot topic. I really like to thank you for attending, and we're really looking forward to work with you in the future. Thank you.